What's up, everybody? Chris and Ashley here on Onorato Company. The wild card round lived up to its name. It was awesome. Even the Niners win and the Cowboys win, which was multiple scores difference. Still, the games had intrigue for me, Ash, that was difficult to turn away from them at any point. And now we come to what I have called the best weekend in the NFL season, because you get the one-seeded teams into play, and I think there's great potential for these four games in the divisional round to exceed what we saw wild card weekend.
I think it'll be tough to exceed what we saw wild card weekend. I like more games, so I'm into, last weekend, but
I don't. I don't believe more is better. More fills time, but I don't believe that more is better. We're going to break down the divisional round games here. Can the Giants find another way to upset an opponent this week? We'll share a comment from one of our viewers about, maybe this team reminds him of one of those Eli Manning squads that won 2 Super Bowls. We'll get into what we're seeing from our guys, Kevin Huerter and Joseph Girard III on the basketball court. Haven't done a ton of hoops on the show to this point in the season. And some changes coming to baseball at the AAA level. When will we see it at the major league level? And I am very surprised at ESPN's preseason power rankings.
I am a little
baseball. Here we go.
This is Onorato Company, brought to you by Alpin House.
All right, Ash, here we go. Let's just roll call it now. Sam is watching.
I like it. This is becoming like the Yankees.
We appreciate it, man. First-time commenter Vince, he says more is better. So disagree with me right off the jump. Vince, you're out. It's been nice having you gone. Okay,
you're in.
Carol, good morning. Good to see you. And Stephanie is watching as well. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here on Onorato Company. You can catch us live every Thursday, 10 a.m. on News Channel 13's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You want to watch us on TV? You can do that. Saturday nights at 6 on My 4, Sunday mornings at 6.
Vince, hang out. We'll get you there.
We are definitely going to do that, Vince. Absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, Ash put the top 5 into the show. I hadn't seen them either, Vince. But when I saw the graphic sheet, I thought, these are last year's rankings.
I saw them too, and I thought, are these real? And I looked and I thought, well, I guess they're real. So I'm putting them in.
Okay, so that's coming up on the show here, and we'll of course do our Pick 6 Vodka NFL Pick'em straight winners when it comes to the postseason is how we're rolling the rest of the way here. We're all season long. We were against the spread. Yep. All right. How do the Giants do it? Not do they? Will they? How? How do the Giants pull off another upset this weekend? The key for me, and I think a lot of people are going to say, well, you have to worry about Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and Miles Sanders is a heck of a running back people don't generally talk about in the NFL. I think people are going to say the Giants defense has to play well. That's not it for me, Ash. The Giants have to protect Daniel Jones. This is the best pass rush in all of football. 70 regular season sacks for the Eagles, 15 better than the team that ranked second in the league in that category. This is a difficult task for a Giants offensive line. And I'm going to throw in Matt Breida and Saquon Barkley too, because they're going to need extra protectors for Daniel Jones. Now, Jones has the ability to escape the pocket and run like we saw last week. Yep. But this pass rush is different than Minnesota's. The defense overall is different than Minnesota. So for me, the key to the Giants pulling off an upset here is giving Jones time to throw.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But for me, I would say what side of the ball has to be better than they were last weekend for them to win this game? Well, the defense has to be better. For me, it wasn't. If the offense comes out and does what they did last weekend, they give themselves a chance. They can't give up 30 points to the Eagles and hope to win, because you're not going to trade shots with them. Listen, Kirk Cousins had a really good game.
Sure did.
And they won despite that. It was the Giants' offense that kept them in that game, not the defense. The defense didn't play all that great. They did make adjustments. Listen, they did a great job on Justin Jefferson, which is half the battle with that team. But TJ Hawkinson ate them alive in the first half. They made an adjustment. So they made adjustments, but they still weren't great. I think the defensive side of the ball has to be better in order for that result to be the same, which is a Giants W.
And what kind of Jalen Hurts are we going to get? I mean, I know Nick Sirianni is saying, and Jalen Hurts is saying, I'm 100%. I'm better than I was in the regular season finale. Now there's been 2 weeks between, so he's had time to rest that shoulder that needed some healing. We're going to know early on, I think. If Hurts shows the willingness to run early in this game, we're okay. He feels good. He's not worried about it. He's not afraid to take a hit. On top of that, I'm interested to see how Sirianni calls this thing. Does the playbook shrink a little bit, and is Hurts a little hesitant to get outside of the pocket or to run beyond the line of scrimmage? Mm-hmm. Those are early things. And I love that this game is Saturday night. It's going to be wild in Philadelphia. It's the perfect setup for this divisional round game. It's awesome. Well, you don't have to worry about being late at work. You're good.
I'm going to be on I'm going to be on a lacrosse field the entire time the game is happening. Listen to this. So the NLL moved the Philadelphia Wings game to 1:00. And I thought, well, what's the deal? Like, we don't have Giants fans in New York. We've got 2 New York teams playing, the Riptide and the Firewolves. Yeah. And we didn't move this game. So forget the Giants fans. It's all about the Philadelphia fans. It's messed up.
Well, I think that tells you the level of passion in one state compared to the other.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, Philadelphia fans
they're crazy.
Misguided as it may be, more passionate than, New York Giants fans.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
From what I've experienced anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to be score watching as much as I can without, while still doing my job.
Nick is in the house. He's got the hooday going. And then I love this because Nick is our resident Bengals fan.
We're clapping back.
And Melissa has become our resident Bills fan, which we absolutely love. Who dem? Who dey? Who dem? I don't know. But this is nice. We got a little back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Tad bit nervous. Okay. So I'm glad Melissa said that because she should be on the show. It segues into what we had teed up next. And that is whether or not the Bills are in trouble after a close call against the Dolphins. And I could ask the same question about the Bengals.
Are they in
trouble after their close call against Baltimore? If you were to rewrite this, should we say, who are you more worried about at this point, Buffalo or Cincinnati?
Listen, I'm not sure either team feels good about the performance last weekend in the wild card round against backup quarterbacks, though neither of those games should have been as close as they were. The thing that sets them apart and makes them different for me is that the Bills did everything they could to lose that game and still won it. So for me, I think that you don't turn the ball over, or you turn it over once instead of 3 times. One doesn't go for a touchdown. I think the Bills might be in better shape than the Bengals. The Bengals are losing offensive linemen like crazy. Every single week they lose a new offensive lineman. So again, you talked about protecting Jalen Hurts. If they can't protect Joe Burrow, I think it's going to be a problem for the Bengals. So I'm going to say I'm more concerned about the Bengals only because of their health and also because I think the turnovers are fixable. If they're not fixable, then the Bills aren't going to win that game.
Josh Allen has turned the ball over a lot this year.
A lot.
And even if he hasn't turned it over, he's been loose with the ball, and they've been fortunate to recover.
But that's not too different than, listen, Mahomes went through this. You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about just kind of the free and easy style of play, a little bit careless. It's different than Daniel Jones. It's just a little bit more like Brett Favre-like. Jones, every time he got hit, he lost the ball. That's not really what happens with Josh Allen. But he's like a little more free and loose and on the wild side than those guys. Boy. I hope you're right, because I'm interested in listen, I'm just kind of over the Chiefs. The Chiefs are fun to watch, but I'm a little bit over the Chiefs. I was good with the Bengals being in it last year. I hope you're right.
Coming in strong, says Buffalo or Cincinnati. The winner of that one will beat Kansas City. Now, if it's Cincinnati, they have to go to Arrowhead. Big difference. If it's Buffalo, they'll play in Atlanta, that neutral site game for the AFC Championship game.
The AFC is where it's at, right? I mean, every game in the AFC intrigues me. And that's not to say, ultimately, I'm interested in the Niners. In the NFC. I think they're very, very good. Their defense is phenomenal. It's probably the best defense in the league. So they interest me, but like I don't know. A Cowboys-Niners to me is really fun. I know, people who are 20 and to 30 may not get this, but like Cowboys-Niners back in the heyday was where it was at. It's like Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, Troy Aikman. Those are the names that, come up, but it's Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. But the idea that it's those two teams playing is interesting. I just think the best teams are in the AFC.
Yes, to me, there's no doubt about that. And for a long period of time, the Eagles were the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. Road team with the best chance to win in the divisional round.
Giants for me. I was Giants last week. I'm Giants this week. I like the matchup in terms of like, you're going to give me a divisional opponent. They've seen them 2 times. 2 weeks ago, they didn't play any of their starters. They had nothing to play for, and that was a close game with Jalen Hurts and most of those guys in the lineup for Philadelphia. So I like, if I have to pick one, it's going to be the Giants.
I thought you were going to say Cincinnati, but okay. Yeah, no, I mean, defending AFC champs, what have they won? 10 in a row at this point, 9 in a row, whatever the number is that they've won. Cincinnati. Okay.
I'm not saying Cincinnati doesn't have a really good chance. I think they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they win, but I like the matchup better for the Giants.
I did pick one road team. Giants in the AFC Championship game? I can imagine.
I can't. My mind doesn't quite accept, but yeah, it would be unbelievable.
And look, this is totally different. I'm going to read a comment here really quickly just from our buddy Bill Blake, who commented before the show got started. He says, not quite sure this Giants team can win it all, but feels like they got some of the mojo of those Super Bowl teams with Eli. Get hot at the right time, pull off upset after upset on the road. Here's the difference for me. The Giants' first trip to the Super Bowl, they were the dog the whole way, similar to the way they are now, okay? Yep. But you had one of the greatest defensive lines in NFL history.
Yep.
They called the NASCAR package with Tuck and Strahan and Umenyiora and Kiwanuka. And you had a burgeoning Hall of Fame quarterback, number 1 overall pick, a guy who even before that run through the playoffs, you felt like he was the franchise guy. I mean, there were no questions about him the way there have been with Daniel Jones. So I don't know. I see too much of a difference for me to say this is similar to that. All of that said, you get to this stage and you're playing a divisional opponent. Granted, you lost to him twice in the regular season. All bets are off here. I mean, they're not this great underdog on Saturday night, the way I see it anyway. But they're not. I'm not giving them the Giants as the best chance to win as a road team. I'll reveal that when we do our Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em. Let's take a quick time out here. We'll look back on Wild Card Weekend. We might even touch on some Jags Chiefs here because I think that game has more intrigue than we're giving it credit for. Is Brady done? That post-game press conference, is he saying goodbye to the NFL or just to Tampa Bay? We're back right after this.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
The temperatures are dropping, which means the holidays are right around the corner. 'Tis the ski-zen at Alpenhaus Ski Shop, where you'll receive up to 50% off top ski and snowboard brands like K2, Vocal, Nordica, and LiveTech. And check out our selection of footwear from Muck and UGG, as well as casual and hiking apparel from Patagonia and the North Face. We also have the latest in winter fashion from Fly Low, Marmot, Obermeyer, and Helly Hansen. And an Alpenhaus gift card is the perfect gift for the adventure on your list. Alpenhaus in Amsterdam and Clifton Park.
And now back to Onorato Company. Brought to you by Alpin House.
Well, the support we get from all of our local business partners on the show through the entirety of 2022 and now into 2023. So our thanks to each and every single one of those businesses that support us, and of course the people who watch us each and every single week. If you saw Tom Brady's press conference, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. If you didn't, he saved time at the end of that post-game presser in the media room. Tampa loses to Dallas. It's the end of his contract with the Buccaneers. And it was a lot of thank yous. Mm-hmm. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to the media. Thank you to the organization. He says how much he loves the organization, blah, 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 blah. He is not going to play for the Buccaneers next year. So my question is, that was a goodbye. Yep. Is it goodbye to Tampa, or is it goodbye to the NFL? At 45 years old, is he going to come back and play as a 46-year-old and start all over again in a new situation?
I do not believe that it's goodbye to the NFL. Wow. This year was a bad year for him. Not on a great team. I can't see him going out that way. And listen, I don't think he's going to go out with a Super Bowl because I'm not sure he can win another. He's not going to play for the Bills or the Chiefs or someone that's already preloaded. But I don't see him going. He's not ready yet. Listen, he retired last year and now he's played one more season. You think that's it for him? I just think he's not going anywhere. He's Tom Brady. He's going to play till he's 100.
Okay. So I'm with you. I think he continues.
That was just a nice thank you to Tampa for my couple
years.
There
have been people who say it's time to walk away. And then there are people who say you can't go out like that.
Right.
The longer you extend your career, we threw that up. The longer you extend your career, Ash, the less likely it is you're going to go out near the top. I'm not talking about on top. I'm just talking about kind of close to the top. Yep. Like where you can see the summit. Not actually on it, but I'm like, boy, I don't want to go another 1,000 feet, but it's up there. I can tell it's up there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we all knew he should have gone out after he won a Super Bowl in Tampa because that was like, come in first year, win another Super Bowl. It's the me, not Belichick whole argument. You've won it. You're good to go. You're the greatest ever. That's when you go out. But now that you've played again, well, you can't go out like that. That's for sure. You can't go out with one of the biggest stinkers of his playoff career. That was brutal. When you say all the games, that game was terrible. It was terrible from start to finish. It wasn't close. It was all bad.
All right, so the best landing spots. These are the quarterbacks that let's start with Brady. He's on the list. We're talking about him. Let's just start with him.
Sure.
Best landing spot for Brady, assuming he's going to play in 2023.
Carolina? I don't, why?
What does Carolina have? Nothing.
I don't want, I don't think he's going to Vegas. Do you think he wants to go to New York? That doesn't feel like my guess is like Carr to the Jets, Jimmy G to Las Vegas, or Rodgers to Las Vegas. I just can't see him going to either of those two spots. So then where does he end up?
I think New York and Vegas are the only options for him.
That's what I mean, though. And I don't think he's going to either one because where is everybody else going? What are the other teams?
Okay, but you're saying you don't think he's going there. But I think what you're telling us is you don't think either of those teams want him.
Yes, I would agree. I think there are better options.
Okay.
Younger.
What I'm saying is I think Brady would like to go to one of those two spots.
Sure.
I think the Jets would take him.
But don't you think they would take one of those other younger guys?
No.
He's only going to give you a year, maybe two. Maybe.
If he only gave Tampa 1 year, how did it end? A Super Bowl. And remember, when he went to Tampa, it was a very different roster. And I know we're judging Brady here, but when he just went to Tampa year one, They were loaded on the offensive line. They had all the receiving weapons you could need. The defense was stout, and it was still good this year. The defense struggled, obviously, against the Cowboys. But the Jets are just one plug and play away. And this is the exact situation a few years removed from Brady leaving New England to go to Tampa because he saw the potential. That's there in New York. It's not really there in Vegas. That defense is bad.
No, I agree.
I
don't think they're
Jets.
one plug and play quarterback away from a Super Bowl in New York.
Really?
You need a healthy Breece Hall. We're not sure that's going to happen.
Okay.
He could definitely use some more receivers. Like, that's not the best receiving core. That's not even a top 5 receiving core.
Maybe with Brady it is. Garrett Wilson looks like he's going to be a beast.
He's great.
And look,
but outside of him,
it's not the only move the Jets would make. Okay, obviously they didn't make the playoffs, so they have a decent draft pick. They could go get some more help if they wanted to. I think you're going to see certain guys become cap casualties, and all of a sudden there's a receiver or a running back who wants to just go play with Brady.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope it happens because it's a dream scenario for just people like you and I who want to talk about it.
It's something.
A dream
for
scenario.
me, I just think, like, say you plug somebody and it just doesn't work year one, which we understand that. Like, Tom Brady was an anomaly in Tampa Bay. There aren't many quarterbacks you could plug into a Super Bowl ready team and win a Super Bowl, as crazy as that sounds. I just think there's a lot to be determined still with that team. And if it's going to take 2 or 3 years, well, maybe you don't have the time with Brady. You have the time with a guy like Derek Carr and a guy like Jimmy G. You have the time to give them a year, get into the playoffs, and then make that next step. You've got the time.
Okay, let me play this one out for you.
Yeah.
You bring in Brady for a year, and you hope that he is the magic elixir to Zach Wilson. You have Brady teaching Zach Wilson how
I'm out
to
on the
play
Wilson experiment.
this position. Just a thought.
But no, because if it doesn't work, now you're starting over again. If it doesn't work in the first year with Brady, you are now starting over again. Jimmy G's a year older, Derek Carr's a year older, or you're drafting another quarterback. That's why I'm not in on it. Because if it's you get Jimmy G or Derek Carr to have a year under his belt with that team, well, now you're not rebuilding. You were just building on that. I'm not convinced that 1 year of Brady, if it doesn't work, is a good thing for the Jets, no matter what.
I don't think they do, Jason. I don't think they believe in Wilson, but you publicly have to say it. It's the game. I don't think Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas believe in Zach Wilson. But you can't throw him under the bus. He's 2 years into his NFL career. There was belief that, and look, Sam Darnold actually played pretty well late in the season.
Yeah.
You can't say the guy is done and has no chance. You're going to lose other players around the league. You might keep the locker room now, but you're going to lose the potential of other guys that why do I want to go play there if they just throw their guys on? You have to try to salvage something out of the number 2 overall pick, period. And I don't think it's going to work. And I think they know it's not going to work, but you can't be.
So play this out. Where are they going for you?
Garoppolo to Vegas for me.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree.
The Niners are no longer an option, right? Are we?
I don't think. I mean, you've got 2 guys who are 23 years old who you've got to figure out. Because if Trey Lance doesn't work, at least you've got Brock Purdy, and it's very clear that he's a capable quarterback.
How about LA? I know they're picking up Stafford's option.
Yep, but that doesn't mean anything.
$60 million. Yeah.
He's hurt.
But if he's not healthy, you need a quarterback. Is Baker the guy? Maybe Baker's the guy there.
I don't hate that. And that's the thing. I think they're good for now because if Stafford isn't healthy to start the season, then Baker starts.
Carolina needs a quarterback. New Orleans will need a quarterback. Houston.
That's not a bad situation either.
Houston might need a quarterback.
Well, nobody wants to go there.
I mean, if you don't have the number 1 overall pick, and they don't, are you getting Bryce Young? I mean, do you move up from 2 to 1 just to give the Bears another first-round pick a year later just to get Bryce? I don't know. If you're Nick Caserio, do you do that in Houston? But I'm just rattling teams off. Yeah. I mean, maybe Green Bay needs a quarterback.
Yeah, they're not going to go after somebody, though. No, even if they lose Rodgers, you ride out the Jordan Love experiment for the full season and see what happens.
So if you're the Jets, if you're the Texans, if you're the Saints, if you are
the Saints are a good one that I didn't really think of. I mean, I would go, if I was them, I'd go hard after any of those guys.
Yeah.
But maybe Derek Carr. Like he's to me,
Rams
the young
need one.
guys
The
are
Raiders
better.
need one. I mean, it's amazing here that we'll sit around and chat and we'll come up with 8 teams that all of a sudden need a quarterback. I mean, Washington needs a quarterback. Or are they going to go with Sam Howell? I mean, it's just
Geno Smith is a free agent, correct?
He is.
He might not be back in Seattle. Seattle might need a quarterback. Geno Smith might be an option for one of these other teams. You know what I mean? He's going to be less expensive. But do you believe in him? I don't know.
I could do an hour on this. I'll end it here. Rodgers, done, back, elsewhere. Here's why I think it's the third of the 3 options. It's so tricky with his contract.
Yeah. Somebody's going to take it on.
You can't cut him because the cap hit is too big. You'd have to wait until after June 1st to cut him, and that's just too late. Most teams have their quarterback situation settled by then.
This opens up a whole new can of worms. If Lamar isn't in Baltimore, then one of those guys is in Baltimore.
He will be. Lamar will be in Baltimore. He just may not be playing in Baltimore. They're going to franchise tag him, and he might hold out. But he's going to be in Baltimore. Yeah. So let me just say on Rodgers here for a second. To me, the only options are he retires or he comes back to Green Bay.
Yeah, because of his contract.
The cap hit is too big to trade him. It's just too big. And it penalizes you too much if you cut him. I see all these experts out there saying Green Bay's got to cut ties and move on. Okay, but from a cap standpoint,
you can't just do it.
You can't explain it to me. It doesn't make sense. And all the talk is that there was this agreement between the Packers organization and Rodgers that when he signed that 3-year, $150 million deal, that he committed to them for at least 2 more years. I think Brian Gutekunst, the GM, was like, yeah, we expect him to be back because those were the conversations we had. Now, if he retires, that's completely different, right? Something has changed. He doesn't feel like playing anymore, doesn't see the potential to win.
I mean, they still think a cap hit, right? That's what we saw the other day, which I was
They still do.
My mind was blown by that, by the way.
Which, again, I think is why they felt like they had a little security. Like, this guy's going to play for 2 more.
Yeah.
I know people who are watching it may be bored by it at this point.
I'm infinitely interested by it.
Me too. Fascinated. I'm fascinated by it all. All right, we didn't do something last week. Can I slide this in here? We'll take another break here shortly.
I love this.
Best head coaching job currently vacant. And we are going to do our Pick Six Vodka picks here at the divisional round. We've gotten away from the games entirely. This is all off-season stuff here, but I'm almost as interested in all this as I am the games themselves.
Yep.
These are the head coach openings right now in the NFL. Best one for you.
This was an easy one for me. My answer is Indianapolis. And I don't think it's really all that close. Maybe Carolina, but Carolina doesn't have a good enough quarterback to be competitive at this point. For me, it's Indianapolis, and I know they don't have an answer at quarterback either, but they're the most stable organization. They feel like a real football team that tends to make good decisions. They've got a really good, blueprint. They've got a good, core of guys.
Yeah.
You've got to add a quarterback in. I think if you put a good coach in, they're in a really good spot. I wouldn't touch Denver or Houston with a 10-foot pole. They're disasters.
Why didn't the Colts come up in this conversation here?
I don't know.
They should have.
Well, then we've got another opening, so perfect. One of those guys will end up there. But we've decided we're going to scratch Aaron Rodgers from that list. So.
And I don't see Aaron Rodgers playing in Indianapolis. I'm sorry. Right. I don't care if he's chasing a ring. He's not going to Indianapolis. It doesn't fit his whole person. I know you're like, well, he's in Green Bay. Yeah, but he was forced into that situation. He's not choosing Indianapolis. That would surprise the heck. Yeah,
for me, it's Indy. Like I said, Denver and Houston are untouchable, and I understand that Sean Payton may take one of those, which good for him. But yeah, if I'm a coach that's getting my first head coaching job, I get some guys are going to do it, but like Houston has now fired its coach 2 times in a row after 1 year. That to me spells bad news from top to bottom. Caserio feels like a huge disaster.
Yeah.
Arizona, I don't want the Kyler Murray situation. First,
No.
Kyler Murray isn't healthy. They have a ton of money tied up in him. J.J. Watt's retiring. The DeAndre Hopkins situation is unclear. I don't want that either. So it's Carolina or it's Indy for me, and I'm taking Indy.
DeAndre Hopkins and Tom Brady to the Jets. Get it done, Joe Douglas. I think I mean the Houston thing.
Over.
If it's Sean Payton, though, he's going to get more than a year. We know that.
Yeah.
And then doesn't that become attractive, Houston? You're starting from scratch here. You have all kinds of draft picks. Thank you, Cleveland. I don't know. That one to me, I'm interested in that one. I think a lot of players like the idea of being in Houston or Texas, no state income tax. And I'm with you on Denver. You can't get away from the Wilson contract. I'm with you on Kyler Murray, not an effective NFL quarterback. Carolina, I don't know. I know the owner's got more money than David Tepper's got all.
Well, yeah, they're paying Matt Rule to coach the Nebraska Cornhuskers right now.
And I don't know who do you love with Carolina if you were to be the head coach? Like, where are you starting? You're starting with needing a quarterback, but then do you love the receivers? Is Chuba Hubbard a good enough running back for you long term? Is that they've traded some pieces on defense? I don't know.
I'm also
it's Indianapolis. They have a good O-line. They have the heck. I always want to call him Jonathan Stewart. Why do I Jonathan Taylor? It's Indy.
Yeah, they have a good defense. I mean, they got Franklin on that. They're good enough. They weren't good this year, which I was surprised at how poorly they played at times. But yeah, I'm interested in Indy. I think it's the best situation. I'm also interested in what guys get head coaching jobs. Like, are we going to retread or are we going to give Eric Bieniemy his chance? Are we going to hire Dan Quinn back? Are we going to, is there?
Sean Payton will get a job.
To me. I agree. And I don't know that he should. He might just be one of those guys that is a better coordinator than a head coach.
You're talking about Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I know he's a hot name, but there are a lot of others. I've seen a lot of new names, which is nice. I enjoy, but I'm also infinitely interested in the head coaching carousel.
Back in a minute here on Onorato Company, the Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em. Some baseball on the way as well. Those top 5 power rankings that surprised the heck out of me today.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
You've heard of unsung heroes. The men and women of Nyskoba are the unseen heroes. For the past year, you've learned about our many charitable endeavors. Now it is my privilege to share with you the work performed by our members, the 20,000 state correction and law enforcement officers shielded from view. They work in difficult and dangerous conditions and are an extension of the police who protect our neighborhoods. Nyskoba honors New York's police and firefighters and salutes its own members who help deliver a peaceful night's sleep.
And now back to Onorato Company, brought to you by Alpin House.
Okay, Ash, let me divert just a little bit here because I feel like talking about this now. This show is not.
You do what you feel. You're the boss.
We're winging it a little bit here, and we'll get to the Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em, the predictions for the divisional round here any moment. I've been teasing it all show. Let me just say, you found these. Didn't even know they existed yet for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Astros are number 1. They're defending World Series champs. They've been in American League heavy for 6 years now. Okay, I'm good with that. Braves.
Shocked me.
Yankees. Mets, too low. Padres.
Maybe about right.
Yeah, seems about right. Where the heck are the Phillies?
I'll tell you where they are. They're 8.
Who is 6 and 7?
The Dodgers are 6. The Blue Jays are 7. The Phillies are 8.
The
The
Phillies
Rays are 9.
just won the National League pennant. They had a 2-1 lead on the Astros, and they got better. They got markedly better. And I know Bryce Harper is going to miss half the year, and then when he comes back, he might only be able to DH. But they're better than last year when they made it to the World Series and had a lead after 3 games over the Astros. That's what's the Braves being second surprised me. And then the Phillies just not being included. I was like, wait a minute, these are last year's rankings.
I'm dropping the Braves out of the top 5. And I'm not saying they're not in the top 10, but I've said that I think the Phillies and Mets are both better than the Braves. So for me, the Braves aren't in the top 5 for me. I'm pushing them up. I'm going to go like Mets 2, Padres 3, Phillies 4, Dodgers 5, Yankees 6. Like there's, I can't believe you've got basically the whole AL East in the top 10, by the way. You're just missing Boston, which to me is a little bit crazy. But yeah, I was shocked by them too. I would have different rankings, but I'm not an expert. So
sorry, you were reading them. Baltimore is in the top 10? No.
Oh, no. Okay. No, but the Blue Jays and the Rays. Sorry. Yeah.
I thought, oh, wait a minute.
No.
This is really a bad ranking.
No, they're not.
Okay. All right, good. This is coming to the AAA level this year. Electronic Strike Zone. They call it ABS, Automated Balls and Strikes. When will it reach the majors? Because I'm with you. It is coming. Major League Baseball has already adopted for this coming year a pitch clock, larger bases. They're eliminating the shift. You can only throw over and check on a guy or try to pick a guy off a certain number of times. So those are 4 big changes. This is coming. How soon do you want it?
I mean, it's coming anyway, so I don't care. I don't necessarily want it. I enjoy Aaron Boone getting thrown out because he argues balls and strikes. That for me is a fun part of the game, but it's coming, so I don't really care when. My guess is it'll be here we'll go 2 full seasons and then it'll be in the majors.
Yeah, I think if it works swimmingly, the AAA level, I think you could see it next year. If there are kinks that need to be worked out, I'm with you. It'd be the 2025 season, but I think no later than the 2025 season.
I'll tell you what I enjoy is the change in the NFL that I think all sports should adopt is like when something is obvious, New York just calls down into the headsets and turns it over. We don't need a whole review process. And it's just keeping the game moving. That needs to happen at all levels in all sports. Like, let's just make the call based on what we see in New York or wherever the offices are, push it through and move on. We don't need the headsets and that unless there's a challenge. We don't need all that.
Yeah. Different for the playoffs. And it's been really effective this year. Yeah. All right, here we go with our predictions.
And now your weekly NFL Pick'em, presented by Pick 6 Vodka.
Okay, Ash, I always ask this. How are we doing?
God, I'm over 500.
How about that? It's been a long road, but you're there, and you finished the regular season. Now, this is our guy, John Conlon, who does the graphics. Yeah. We said on last week's show, you know what? We don't have to add in the playoff record into the regular season record. Ash won the regular season, let it stand on its own. John did this on his own. Thank you, John, because you put me now within a game of Ash instead of the 2 games I was behind her.
Yeah. Now, listen, if over 500 is over 500, that could change in 5 seconds.
We're picking straight winners, so it is certainly easier.
Patrick, we see you, buddy. We'll be with you in a few.
The Firewolf segment still to come here. 45 minutes into each and every show is the way we follow the pack.
Pick the same thing here.
So Jags Chiefs, boy, that comeback by Jacksonville was fun, but I just don't see them finding a way at Arrowhead.
No, me neither. On the road, and I think it'll be a fun game.
I do too.
You better not get down 27-0 to that Chiefs team because they're not going to let you back. They're just going to stomp on you and put you in the ground.
I'm with you. I think this is a fun game. I think Jacksonville comes in playing really loose, Lawrence can't play any worse than he did in that from the first half in that game. So
can't play much better than he did in the second half. It's crazy.
What do you have to lose at this point?
Right.
Go sling it. I think Doug Peterson will dial up all kinds of crazy stuff. If you like offensive play calling and the masterminds of it all, Peterson and Reed, two of the best to do it. This should be fun. Yeah.
And listen, I don't know that there was a coach better than Doug Peterson last week, and I'm not sure that there would have been a coach better in that position than he was. He's unbelievable.
You're on your Giants here. I'm on the Eagles.
On the Giants.
Straight winners, the Saturday night game. Giants at the Eagles.
I was going to pick straight chalk, and I couldn't do it, so I had to pick one that I felt would make me different.
You said Giants are you give them the best shot of any road team to win this weekend. We both like the Bills.
I'm not coming off the Bills till they lose. I don't have to pick them to cover anymore,
right.
So
we both like the Bills. It feels like one thought I had that I spit out earlier when we were talking about Buffalo. It feels like the Bills had their clunker, and now they put it behind them. Yep. They play to their full potential, and I think we really start to see that on Sunday, 3:00 kick at Orchard Park. And DeMar Hamlin's been around the team all week. I think he's probably there on Sunday as well. Cowboys.
I like
I'm riding the Cowboys.
This is your road team upset.
Yes.
I like
do I believe in them? No. Do I think the Purdy perfect run has to end at some point? Yes. Yeah. It might come in 2023 in the fall. I don't know. But it's going to end at some point. Give me the Cowboys here. They're as talented as the 49ers and maybe more so.
No.
Give me Dallas here, feeling good. Brett Maher misses 4 extra points. They still win a game against Tom Brady. So give me the Cowboys to find a way Sunday night.
He misses 4 extra points. They're not winning that game, let me tell you.
No chance.
The 49ers have the best defense in the league, and I don't think it's all that close. And yeah, Brock Purdy hasn't had to be great, and yet he has been. He hasn't done anything to lose those games. He hasn't made the big mistake. He's thrown 3 touchdowns here, 2 touchdowns there. They've got Christian McCaffrey. They've got Brandon Ayuk. They've got Deebo Samuel. Like, there is just too much talent. For me, there's too much talent front, back, sideways, special teams on the San Francisco 49ers to lose to that Cowboys team.
Okay. The recap. It's quick, but there you go.
I know we're losing teams. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, we're different.
We got 2 differences. I like it
this week, which makes it a little more interesting. Okay.
Yep.
All right. What team are you rooting for that maybe you didn't pick this round?
None, because I didn't pick the Cowboys. I would never root for them. I didn't pick the Eagles. I would never root for them.
No part of you rooting for Jacksonville.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that would be it. I could get behind Jacksonville. I always just think, like, do you want Jacksonville in an AFC championship game? It's kind of weird. We've seen it before, but it's kind of weird for me.
Sign us up for Chiefs, Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, any day of the week.
Yeah. So Jacksonville, yes, is my answer.
Okay. All right. We're back in 30 seconds. Follow the pack, the Albany Firewolves, which we do here each and every single week on Onorato and Company.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Marcella's Novice Performance Industrial, Pick 6 Vodka, Saratoga Courage Distillery, Niscoba, Alpenhaus, of course, and the Albany Firewolves, a partner of the show this season, and we are so pumped to have them as part of our Follow the Pack segment each and every single week. Here, Ash, this is a team you know very well. You cover them each and every single week as the sideline reporter for the Albany Firewolves, and we do this every week. Let's bring in our player this week, and it is Patrick. Patrick, I'm going to say Kashalk. But as with a last name like Onorato, I try to get these things right because most people screw up my name. So give it to us straight, man.
It's Cash Chalk, like KS, then Chalk you right with.
There we go. It's funny.
Yeah.
I said to Chris, I'm like, I don't know how to say it because I haven't met him yet, but I've heard Cash Chalk.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Yeah, I've had that going my whole life. But I just want to say thank you for having me on, and I'm excited to be here.
Dude, thank you for doing the show. We appreciate you taking the time ahead of a game Saturday night at home against the New York Riptide. How do we get this thing back on track here, Pat, as you guys look to get a victory at home?
I think the big thing is just sticking to what we know and being ourselves. We just have to focus on what we have in the locker room, and just we kind of lean on those veterans. They've been showing the young guys the way, and it's been letting us play pretty freely. And we're really unselfish up front, so they can kind of pass the torch around and take turns leading the way. So we just got to focus on being ourselves, and I think we're really confident in that.
Patrick, how big is last Friday? You get Halifax back-to-back, and that game played out very similarly to, I think, two of the other games that you lost this season. It was tight down the stretch. You're trying to win faceoffs without a guy like Joe Nardella, so you're like kind of scrapping at possessions. But this one went the other way. You guys finally got, you call a timeout, you get a game-tying goal, you force overtime, you get 2 stops in overtime, which is big, and you give your offense a chance to win the game, and they do. From a confidence standpoint, do you need a game like that to know, like, yes, it is possible to win, a game late that's close, even when possessions are tough to come by?
I'd say every game in this league is really important, and we celebrate all the little victories inside those games. But the games are it's nice to finally close one out. We had a couple late where we didn't close out, and it just shows that we can play a full game and close teams out. Anytime you go into Halifax or like a place like Buffalo and come out with a win, you're really excited. But we're starting to expect those. Even though we have a young group, we're coming in confident. We want to play fast. We want to play hard, and we're playing to win. We're expecting to win. So it's really exciting what we got going on.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, so change them if I'm wrong here. But the way this league is designed, it would be easy for a team that's played together for 5 years to be disjointed, because you might just be coming in on a Friday or Saturday to play a game the next day or even that same day. So it would be difficult to build and keep chemistry. Given all of the new guys on this team, has that been more of a challenge?
In the lacrosse world, I don't think culture is our biggest problem. We just have to kind of deal with some outstanding factors that we can't control. We have great culture. We have a great locker room. We're very accepting, and especially being a young guy, you come in and you got older guys teaching you the ropes, showing you the ropes, so you can play and be impactful right away. If you're on the floor and you're in the lineup or you're in that locker room, the veteran guys don't want you to not be impactful. They want everybody in there to have a purpose, and they do a great job showing that and teaching and holding your hand if you need it. So I don't think culture is an issue at all. You just have to work with some of the outstanding factors. We're talking to each other every single day. We're communicating every day. We're watching film. We're practicing on our own, and we're keeping track with other guys to see what they're doing on their own. So I don't think that chaos is an issue. It's just you have to deal with some of those outlying factors like flights and all that. But that's part of the game, part of the league, and we're ready to handle anything.
It's good insight.
Patrick, you are one of those young guys that you referenced. You're a rookie in the NLL, but you've got a goal and 4 assists. So you've been impactful in the first 4 games. What has this transition been like for you, just kind of getting used to whether it's the speed of the NLL game in box lacrosse or what have you?
The speed is a big jump. The IQ of players is what I found is the biggest. So sometimes in junior, I'd like to be like an aggressive guy, go out, pressure all the time. And there are still times for that here, but sometimes less is more. And you just got to listen to the older guys, communicate, and just play your role. And if everyone understands their role and does that, we're confident in what we can do.
Ash, I'll give you final word here.
Yeah, no, Albany Firewolves hosting the Riptide, and this is a Riptide team that just traded one of its stars, Callum Crawford. So this is going to be a team that looks pretty different here, but they're a winless team. Is there something to be said for kind of the, I guess,
dangerous,
the dangerousness or the way that a winless team plays, trying to get that first win, and you still have to kind of account for, it's not that they don't have talent. They certainly have talent, obviously, too.
For this league, I don't think it matters if a team's 4-0 or 0-4. You're coming in with the same attitude, and you don't even look at the record. You watch the film, you understand the scout, and you come in and you want to do your job. And we're confident in that, and we want to come out with a victory every single night. So we're not looking past them whatsoever. We're excited to play more lacrosse, and we're excited to get a victory, and we want to work for that.
Pat, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Good luck Saturday night. You'll see Ash on the sidelines, and we'll be watching from home. If you are at home and not going to the game, you can catch it on our sister station, My4. Again, face off at 7 o'clock. Thank you, man.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right. I love the insight there that there are some things that we just can't control. It's the classic control we can control.
Yep.
But the response I thought was enlightening to me anyway, that actually we're not worried about not spending every day together, every minute, every day together. We can figure this thing out. We just have to look past the challenges, as he called them, of travel and that type of stuff.
And the difference is they always say it's across the board. So everyone faces the same hurdles. It's not an unfair advantage or disadvantage to any one team. This is how the league works. This is how they've made it work, and they understand that.
Fair. Okay. All right, let's keep things rolling here on Onorato and Company. The Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult Done still to come, but we did promise some hoops at the top of the show. And that's what I want to do here right now while we can. And are you paying attention to what's going on in Sacramento? They are leading their division, the Kings, and they're third in the Western Conference standings. They've won 5 in a row.
Light the beam, baby.
A season high 7 games over 500. And Kevin Huerter is having had his best season of his career. Better than 41% from downtown. And he's got career highs in points per game and just overall field goal percentage as well. He's playing so well. He had 8 assists on Wednesday night, 2 shy of a career high overall. He's playing well. The Kings are fun to watch. They're doing it without their best player right now in Domantas Sabonis. So I don't know about lookout Western Conference, but
they've already done more than anyone thought they would, and it's fun. It's fun. Who would have thought people outside of Sacramento, California, and Albany, New York, for Kevin Huerter's purposes, would be interested in the Sacramento Kings? It's fun. They're making Sports Center at night, the light, the beam thing. It's become a whole cultural phenomenon, which is what makes it so great.
They played at, I want to call it Staples Center all the time. It's crypto.com arena now. And there were chants of light the beam and let's go Kings. I mean, on the road against a Lakers team with the King on that roster.
A bad Lakers team. If it's a good Lakers team, that's not happening, but it's not a good Lakers team. So you get some people in California that are on the bandwagon, as we call it.
It's fun.
The Kings
LeBron
bandwagon
is charging hard towards Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is going into Friday. They play Friday and Sunday, the Lakers do. The 283, if he were to score his season average, per game average, it would take him 9 games.
25 a game, 20.
Yeah, he's got 20. He's close to 30 a game. So 9 games to get there. So at this rate, before the All-Star break, I'm going to just keep rolling here.
Roll it.
Your Cuse team, Joseph Girard III, having his best season wearing orange right now. Career highs in points per game, field goal percentage. And when he wasn't making the 3 the other night at Miami, he was getting into the lane. He was bodying guys up. He was playing in the post. That was impressive to see. The Orange are 12-7, but they've won 9 of their last 12. So they're trending upward since the beginning of December. This is a tournament team for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think many experts have them in the tournament that I've seen.
Can we get them to
But
all
the problem will ultimately be the ACC. It'll work again, as it always does. It will kind of work against itself in a good way. This year, there are a lot of teams in the listen. The other night, Syracuse was 5-2 before they lost to Miami. They were tied with 5 teams for third in the ACC. Duke and UNC were 4-3. So this is Clemson 7-0. This is a conference that's sort of been flipped on its head.
Yeah.
And people are going to have trouble leaving Duke and UNC out of the tournament if they wiggle their way a little bit up there. So there won't be as many teams in out of the ACC as I think there probably should be, because their records will be mediocre when they all beat up on each other. So I'm not convinced it's a tournament team, but this is the most fun I've had watching Cuse basketball because, and I said this to you the other night, this is the most players that Jim Boeheim has played in since I was in college, probably. Mm-hmm. Like he's playing 9 guys, 3 freshmen who are contributing. Like this hasn't happened in a really long time, but it feels good. It feels fun. It feels different. And I think it's kind of gotten us away from the stagnant nature of it all.
All right, some football to end the show.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Presented by Performance Industrial.
And a weekly shout out to Bill Miller and his team at Performance Industrial, where there is no job too dirty or too difficult for them to get it done. Ash, you're always up first. You know that.
All right. Well, my Dirty Difficult Done is about how painfully difficult. Number one, it was painful to watch the game, but this just made it all the worse. And if you haven't seen the reaction of the Manning brothers on the Manning cast to all of Brett Maher's missed PATs, you should watch it because it was funny. But it was awful. And I really felt bad for the guy. As bad as it was to watch, he obviously nobody on the planet wants to be this guy. And once you miss the second one, well, now it's all in your head. And you could tell on the third one, he completely overcorrected and yanked it the other way. It was hard to watch. I felt bad for him. The Cowboys have signed another kicker to their practice squad. They say Brett Maher is going to kick this weekend, as he should, unless he literally can't kick a field goal in practice this week. My guess is he'll be back in there. I think there's no more difficult job in the NFL or in a lot of sports than to be a kicker, because you get all the worst and all the best, and it's tough. But
he's a good kicker. He had a
really good kicker. He missed 3 extra points all of this season, and then missed 3 in the game.
4.
I know, but I mean to start.
I know. All right, the QB uncertainty with the Giants is done. It's done. Daniel Jones has quieted any talk about whether or not he is the quarterback going forward and long term. This is not Daniel Jones isn't just going to be the quarterback next year. This is 2020, fall of 23. He'll be there fall of 24, fall of 25. This is going to be a 4 or 5 year contract for Daniel Jones because Brian Daboll has unlocked something in him. He's throwing to guys no NFL fan could name before the season even started, other than maybe Darius Slayton. Okay, so I don't want to hear that he can't get the job done. He's getting it done with talent that nobody knew existed. And that's credit to Brian Daboll. Daniel Jones, uncertainty's gone.
He's the quarterback as long as Brian Daboll is the coach, because Brian Daboll deserves all the credit and more for Daniel Jones.
And you know Brian Daboll isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Our time is up this week on Onorato and Company. Enjoy those football games this weekend, everybody. They're going to be great.